Hi, I'm Max, and this is Echoes in the Dark. Tonight, we're telling the story of a cemetery of forgotten souls. Chapter 8, The Keeper's Burden. The moment Daniel's hand touched Margaret's, the blue light swallowed him whole. It wasn't like faint fog or flickering shadows. It wasn't even like light. It was memory, a flood of it. Thousands of voices poured through him. Names, faces, lives, deaths. He saw flashes of entire existences compressed into single moments. A woman clutching her baby as fever took them both. A soldier buried in a shallow grave, unnamed and unclaimed. A child lost during a harsh winter, her tiny body laid beneath a tree with no marker. Old men, young women, forgotten villagers, drifters, outcasts. A sea of souls crying out, not for justice, not for revenge, but simply to be remembered. The force drove Daniel to his knees. He felt his heart hammering in his chest, his breath shuddering under the pressure of centuries. Margaret's voice cut through the torrent of memory. Breathe, Daniel. The keeper breathes with the dead. He gasped, forcing air into his lungs as the flood slowed, becoming manageable, still overwhelming, but no longer crushing. The blue light dimmed, returning the mausoleum to its cold, eerie stillness. Daniel slumped forward, shaking. What was that? Margaret knelt beside him. Though she was ghostly, her presence was strangely warm. The burden, she said gently, a fragment of what we carry. Daniel whispered. Margaret's expression darkened. She stood and moved toward the ancient sarcophagus near the back of the chamber. Dust rose as her spectral fingers traced its surface. You asked what happened to the last keeper. Daniel pulled himself upright, dread pooling in his stomach. Margaret rested her hand on the stone. She lies here. The sarcophagus pulsed once, faintly, as if something inside heard its name. The keeper remembers all forgotten souls, Margaret continued. But memory is heavy. Every life, every death, every sorrow, it fills the mind. Daniel felt his skin crawl. So what happened to her? Margaret turned, her translucent face solemn. She could no longer carry the burden. Her body lived, but her mind dissolved into the memories she held. She became one more name on the wall. Daniel stared at the glowing inscriptions carved into the mausoleum walls. A sickening thought twisted in his stomach. She's one of them. Margaret nodded. When the keeper breaks, the dead lose their anchor. Their memories scatter. They forget who they are. They become hollow shadows, dangerous and lost. Daniel swallowed hard. And that's why the cemetery trapped me. It needs someone to carry all of this. Margaret stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. The dead chose you because you listened. You wrote our names. You saw us. Daniel's hands trembled. But I can't. His voice cracked. I can't carry thousands of lives. I'm just one person. Margaret's eyes softened with something like pity. That is why we share the burden. The keeper does not hold the memories alone. We are bound together. Our roles intertwined. You're not the prison. You are the bridge. The bridge, Daniel echoed, to keep us tethered, to keep us remembered, to keep the dead from spilling into the world of the living. Daniel's breath caught. So if I fail, Margaret finished for him, the door between worlds will crumble. The forgotten will wander freely, and the living will forget themselves. The mausoleum trembled as if responding to her words. Dust fell from the ceiling. Outside, the gathered spirits watched in eerie silence, their blue eyes flickering like dying stars. Daniel felt the weight of thousands of eyes on him, waiting, needing, desperate. He pressed a hand to his chest, feeling the faint pulse of blue energy there, like a second heart. It was inside him now, the memories, the link, the burden. How do I do this? He whispered. Margaret stepped close, placing her translucent hand over his heart. You begin by speaking a name. The little girl, Eleanor, appeared behind her, smiling shyly. Daniel knelt before her. His voice trembled, but he spoke clearly. Eleanor Whitlock. The cemetery seemed to exhale. A wave of calm spread through the mausoleum. The walls glowed brighter, as if strengthened by the spoken memory. Eleanor's smile widened. She faded, but not completely, leaving behind a soft, warm light where she had stood. You see, Margaret whispered, Each name you speak strengthens the bond, restores the walls, holds the dead in place. Daniel swallowed. And if I don't? The mausoleum's blue light flickered. And for a heartbeat, the walls of the crypt grew thin, revealing black nothingness beyond. A void filled with shapes writhing in eternal unrest. Margaret's voice went cold. Then the dead will feast on the living. Daniel stumbled back. He understood now. The cemetery wasn't haunted. It wasn't cursed. It wasn't forgotten. It was a containment, a seal, a fragile barrier between memory and oblivion. And the keeper, the role forced upon him, was the only thing preventing everything from collapsing. Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. What do I have to do next? Margaret smiled. A sad, heavy smile full of centuries of sorrow. Next, she said, you learn the names of the restless. And outside, as if hearing their cue, the spirits began to gather again. Max speaking from echoes in the dark. Stay curious, stay cautious, and stay tuned for the next chapter.